The motto of this event is quality, innovation and reliability. That's, I guess, what Switzerland is being known for.
Yeah. The restitution of funds from Switzerland, obviously Switzerland is working very, very closely with the Uzbek government to ensure that funds are returned to Uzbekistan and spent in the right way.
The funds that have been definitely confiscated by the Swiss judicial system, projects in the field of health and of education, because these two topics, they are also very much forward-looking.
There are over 40 Swiss companies that are active already in Uzbekistan across everything from machinery to water. Swiss Days is coming up next week. It's a huge moment for the business community, but also for the expansion of your cultural outreach here in Uzbekistan. Can you give us a little bit about what is being planned?
So from the 23rd to the 27th of November, the embassy, together with its partners, will be conducting the Swiss Days here in Tashkent. They are a platform for our bilateral ties. So apart from treatment protocols, strategies will also need to address human resources, will need to address financing and also fighting corruption. The development anywhere in the world also has repercussions on the stability of the world.
It is my pleasure to welcome Ambassador Konstantin Obolensky here from the Swiss Embassy in Tashkent. Welcome here to the conversation on Kun.uz.
Thank you very much, Eleanor. I'm very happy to be here with you and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Fantastic, thank you very much. You've now been here since 2021. Switzerland is doing a huge amount in Uzbekistan itself, lots of different projects across aid, across justice we'll talk about later, but also particularly with Swiss Days coming up and various cultural programs that you have going on. First off, you've been here since 2021. Tell us a little bit about your impressions of Uzbekistan and the changes that have taken place over that time.
You know, when we arrived to Uzbekistan in summer 2021, I didn't know the country at all. So I was really very interested to come. I was very motivated to come to Uzbekistan, working here. But of course also for Switzerland, the ongoing reform process in Uzbekistan is a driving factor. And so I was really impressed to see how the capital of Tashkent is changing its face day by day. We all know the construction going on, but not only. We see also other places in the country that are fast developing. So we are, my family and me, we are really impressed about what is going on in Uzbekistan. Also economically and of course knowing that the population is growing at such a fast pace.
We're delighted that Uzbekistan has been such a good place for you and your family. Moving on to diplomatic relations, what are your priorities as the Swiss ambassador here in Uzbekistan?
Uzbekistan is a partner for Switzerland in Central Asia, an important partner for many years, actually since its independence.
Yep.
We have early opened an embassy here already in 1993. So we have early invested also into our relations. Switzerland is leading the constituency where Uzbekistan is also. So the constituency in the World Bank, but also in the EBRD, in the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. So there we are closely together, we are working closely together, our two countries. Then we have an international cooperation, with Uzbekistan, which started more on humanitarian, but then moved on to development. And so this is also ongoing for more than 20 years. So there we also have a very strong commitment by Switzerland to Uzbekistan, but also to the whole region, the Central Asian region. So therefore, when I was talking about the reforms earlier, the cooperation of Uzbekistan with its immediate neighbors is a very, very important development that will add to stability in Central Asia.
And one of the things that's obviously been more of a recent issue, and I'd just like to touch on briefly because it's of interest. The restitution of funds from Switzerland, obviously Switzerland is working very, very closely with the Uzbek government to ensure that funds are returned to Uzbekistan and spent in the right way. Can you tell us a little bit about that mechanism?
Well, the funds that have been definitely confiscated by the Swiss judicial system, those funds that stem from Uzbekistan, they are being returned to Uzbekistan, and our two countries, we have agreed that these funds must be benefiting the population of Uzbekistan, which is very, very important. So our two countries have decided that we will ask the United Nations to come up with projects that will actually implement this restitution, as we call it. So this restitution of funds. These projects are being developed by the United Nations agencies here in Uzbekistan. They are brought before a management committee where Switzerland, where Uzbekistan and the United Nations are sitting, are deciding on these projects. And I can tell you there are projects in the field of health and of education, because these two topics, they are also very much forward-looking.
Yeah.
Every family needs health services. So the one project, for instance, is focusing on the maternal and perinatal health.
Okay.
So to reduce the mortality of mothers and of babies, and these have been underfunded. It has been an underfunded sector for decades. So there, the United Nations are investing those funds that have been repatriated from Switzerland to Uzbekistan. There is also the other sector of education, and there are projects in the field of digitalisation of learning. Also a very important topic in an underfunded sector.
I mean, that's a really fantastic example of how Uzbek-Swiss cooperation has really benefited both countries moving and will continue to do so moving forward.
If I may
yes.
interrupt you, what is also an important point is, restitutions, they take place for quite a while and in many countries. I mean, there are several origins of restitutions and there are several destinations for restitutions. And restituting large amounts of money is never easy. You want it to be a success. It has to be a success. These funds were of criminal origin. They need to go back to the population of which it was stolen, from which these funds were stolen. And so Switzerland, together with its partners, has come up with a new model that should be a successful model for further restitutions.
Well, fantastic, and thank you very much for working very closely and promoting that and the project within Uzbekistan. Moving now to a question that's very dear to everyone's hearts: visas. You obviously have a presence here in Uzbekistan. However, we hear there might be a visa centre opening. Do you have plans?
I don't know from where you hear that, but Switzerland is working very closely together with Latvia on this. So within the Schengen system, where Switzerland is a member of, although we are not a member of the European Union, within the Schengen system, countries can ask other countries to represent them in the visa, in the field of visa. And Latvia is representing Switzerland in the field of visa in Tashkent. It's a very good cooperation between our two countries, and this is how it works. However, for more complicated visa issues, like for instance for work permits or other consular affairs, it is our embassy, the embassy of Switzerland in Moscow, which is covering Uzbekistan as well in these consular affairs.
Okay.
What we hear, unfortunately, recently is that there are scams around, that there are Telegram groups where people are incited to pay money to get a so-called work permit for Switzerland.
Okay.
These are often scams, and we really tell people, and it is on our website and also in the media, to be very, very careful and rather ask whether it is legitimate before paying big amounts of money to, in the end, just get scammed.
That's very, very good advice, actually, from you. So thank you very much for that. Moving on now to Swiss Days. There are over 40 Swiss companies that are active already in Uzbekistan across everything from machinery to water. Swiss Days is coming up next week. It's a huge moment for the business community, but also for the expansion of your cultural outreach here in Uzbekistan. Can you give us a little bit about what is being planned?
So it's a great topic, and I'm very happy to talk about. So from the 23rd to the 27th of November, the embassy, together with its partners, will be conducting the Swiss Days here in Tashkent. They are a platform for our bilateral ties. As you have mentioned, we will bring together Swiss companies here with interested circles. I mean, there will be encounters on the business to business, but also business to government side.
Yeah.
The idea is really to showcase Swiss expertise and fostering dialogue so that the Swiss Days deepen, also contribute to the deepening of bonds between our two nations. Our motto of this event, and I think it's a very good motto, I love it, the motto of this event is quality, innovation, and reliability. That's, I guess, what Switzerland is known for, and that's what Swiss companies are also known for.
And in what areas are Swiss companies really active in the economy currently?
In Uzbekistan, there is the pharmaceutical element, there is machinery, there is, if we look at our statistics, there is also engineering. So we have a very nice portfolio of companies and being active in different sectors. You know, I cannot stress enough that Switzerland is a very innovative country. For 13 years in a row, Switzerland has always been the top #1 leader of the Global Innovation Index, which is set up, or which is recognized by the World Intellectual Property Organization. So this is really, but this is not it's not Switzerland as such, but it's the economic actors in Switzerland, the education system together with our economy that actually brings such results.
And moving from innovation, which of course expands far beyond watches, which is what Switzerland is quite often known for, but into many of the other technological sectors. Tell us a little bit about this art installation that is going to happen, as I understand, for the first time in Tashkent City Mall.
Well, the art installation is really exciting, and with this art installation, which is called Breathe With Me, we are going to open the Swiss Days.
Yeah.
So it is this art installation is going to be opened on the 23rd of November in the afternoon at 3 o'clock in Tashkent City Mall. It's a public event where people can really participate and have a look. It's a Swiss artist. Her name is Annabelle Schneider. She has shown her exhibition, her art installation in New York, in Barcelona. Now it will come to Tashkent before it will go to Miami. So I think we are in a very cool row of different locations where this art installation is going to be shown. The topic also fits very well with the whole general discussion that we have during the Swiss Days. It's about well-being, it's about urbanization and health. So the idea really is there to show people how to create spaces in urban areas where you can really relax.
Yeah.
And obviously, I haven't seen it myself, but I'm extremely curious to see it.
Well, I think it's going to be incredibly exciting and a real coup for Tashkent City Mall, which is, I'm sure everybody will be very much looking forward to seeing it soon, and it'll have huge access to many, many people.
And that's the great thing. We didn't want to have it somewhere behind closed doors, but really somewhere where people can enjoy it if they're interested in. And then curiosity is, I think, always a very good motivating factor.
Indeed, I think it's a fantastic initiative.
Yeah.
Moving quickly on to education. Now, the Swiss are very active, as I understand, in education, both in Uzbekistan and globally. Can you let us know a little bit about Swiss Learning, which aims to present the best of Swiss education to the international audience, and the key values around that?
I'll tell you with great pleasure. So Swiss Education are bringing top experts here, which will show to the interested audience a number of premium schools that are available in Switzerland, and where also they are going to tell the audience also why it is so interesting to learn in Switzerland. So why? Our country provides for an environment which is stable, which is safe. There is a high quality of life. It is multilinguistic. It is centrally located in Europe, very well connected by public transport, with a good infrastructure all over. And of course, our country offers great outdoor possibilities for a healthy lifestyle, which is especially important during a young age for people. But also, there is a broader background. I want to tell you why education has for such a long time been a priority for Switzerland. Switzerland does not have any natural resources except water. Water we have, yes, and we are very grateful about that. But otherwise, there's no copper, there's no silver, no gold, no oil. And so our natural resource, these are the brains. And the wealth that Switzerland has built mainly really rests on education, on an investment in the education of its population, and therefore Switzerland has for a very long time invested colossal amounts of money in education and also in research and development. Because also in Switzerland, it is not only the education system itself which tries to strive for excellence, but it very closely works together with the industry, with the economy, because research and education happens there very often as well, research and development. So this is a kind of a ping pong where both sides profit very much from each other, and that's, I guess, one of the secrets of success.
And then, of course, that feeds into the innovation that you're highlighting at Swiss Days amongst many of your companies as well. This will be the third Swiss Days here in Tashkent. Tell us a little bit about the successes from previous Swiss Days, as well as what you hope to achieve in the Swiss Days this year.
Thank you. You see, we started 2 years ago with the first Swiss Days. We had them last year and this year again. So we are really, I think, building up a tradition. Yeah. And so last year, for instance, our Swiss Days were mainly focused on questions of infrastructure. And we are bringing Swiss excellence to Uzbekistan, so that we are bringing Swiss excellence to Uzbekistan, so that the Uzbek government and also other actors here in Uzbekistan, they can see what sustainable solutions can be delivered. And they have to be delivered because there is a lot of investment going into the infrastructure and the economic basis of this country. Swiss companies produce high quality, which means that this high quality is a long-term investment, and that one does not have to think about reinvesting very soon again. You see, so it's really about rather have once a good quality at a very high level and a reliable quality. So last year we focused almost entirely on the infrastructure. As Uzbekistan is investing heavily in its infrastructure, I believe it's really important for the authorities to be aware that the best practices exist, especially in regard to long-term sustainability of these investments.
Perfect. But tell us, this year you've got quite an ambitious programme across education, water, engineering. Tell us a little bit about what to expect specifically from Swiss Days 2024.
I will start with an exhibition that will also be shown during these Swiss Days. It's a water exhibition on water. It highlights Switzerland's commitment to sustainable water management. That's something where Switzerland is very strong in, you know. But we have also committed ourselves to supporting Central Asian countries in its water management. There are several aspects, and I don't want to say anything, or I don't want to divulge all the elements of this exhibition, but it concentrates on water flow monitoring. You need to understand how it flows. There is also the cross-border water flow. As we know, water does not know any borders, and so Switzerland has supported Uzbekistan and Tajikistan in the Fergana Valley to monitor the water flow between the two countries, and that is a very interesting and very important initiative. Then we also speak about, or this exhibition speaks about, climate resilient water management in the Zarafshan River region. The water forecasting is super important as well. So Swiss engineering provides with solutions to actually measure the height of snow in the high mountains, so as to understand how much water can be expected in the crop season to reach the downstream countries. So again, extremely interesting.
Well, a huge number of innovations there that will be explored within that exhibition. And in the Swiss Days itself, and the business part of it, and the business networking, I know you're looking at specific areas, one of which being education, another of which being pharmaceuticals. Run us through a little bit about your priority areas there.
So we will have discussions and priority areas in the following sectors. There is, as I said, water resource management. So there we have very high-level speakers and also very renowned companies from Switzerland, like Leica Geosystems, Georg Fischer AG, and Hydro Solutions, an engineering company. We speak about agricultural development with contributions from Buche Unipektin and Swiss Grows, focusing on sustainable agriculture. The health sector, there we have these companies like Meska Foundation for the eye health, and Nestle and Roche.
Big names there.
Big names.
Yeah.
Infrastructure and urbanizations, with very known companies like Schindler Group, Sika Group, and Leica again, and energy transition and climate resilience. We all know how bad, for instance, the air is in Tashkent and in other places, and especially during winter times. There are companies that provide solutions for waste incineration, for instance.
Obviously, Switzerland is very, very active and very well known for healthcare companies. And next week, we'll be very excited to welcome some of those to Tashkent. Tell us a little bit about where Swiss companies and the Swiss embassy are collaborating in Uzbekistan in the area of health?
You know, I come from a city in the north of Switzerland, which is called Basel, and which is the headquarters to some of the most important health pharmaceutical companies, actually, of Switzerland that are global actors. And one of them is called Roche. So it is a pharma company producing medicine and treatment, but also diagnostics. So when we look at health, we should have a whole of systems approach. Without the right diagnostics, the right treatment becomes very difficult. In the framework of its reforms, Uzbekistan needs to invest in its health sector. It also needs to follow a strategic approach that comprises the whole sector. So apart from treatment protocols, strategies will also need to address human resources.
Yep.
Will need to address financing and also fighting corruption. I see that the government is currently working on such strategies, and I'm convinced that Swiss healthcare companies are willing to support Uzbekistan in the extensive know-how generated over years and in different places of the world. I again come back to these three keywords that I have mentioned before: quality, innovation, and reliability. Both as a consumer and as a doctor, I think you all have the interest you want to be sure that the medicine that you are taking or that is you are prescribing if you're a doctor has been tested empirically. You want to be sure that the effect that it has an effect on treating your disease. You want to also be sure that the adverse effects are as minimal as possible, and you want to be sure that this medicine is not a counterfeit. So any key essence in healthcare is trust.
Yeah.
And that's where quality and reliability come in again. So while there are a number of Swiss health companies active in Uzbekistan, these Swiss days will feature two of them: Roche as a leader in cancer treatment and diagnostics, and Meska Foundation working on eye diseases.
I mean, that's fantastic to see so many Swiss companies, but also Swiss companies specifically involved in healthcare that are going to be invested and involved in the progress that Uzbekistan is currently making in that area. I think there's a huge amount to get excited about with Swiss Days, and a huge amount that Switzerland is doing in Uzbekistan at the moment. You're going to be here for, you said maybe a year, 2 years, not quite clear, but what are your main priorities for your remaining time in Uzbekistan, and what would you really like to see grow out of this relationship?
There is always room for improvement. I mean, our relations politically, they are very solid, they are good, and they are constantly developing. Economically, I think there can be done more. That, of course, also, well, what we need is that economic actors know of each other. Yeah. And that's why we organize these Swiss Days, and we are very excited about that, as I said before. But then, of course, also we are always what also is necessary is, of course, the environment, that it will be very solid, very stable, and that the economic actors can find such an environment to be dwelling upon. So economic development between our two countries is really something where I see a lot of potential. Then with our cooperation with Uzbekistan, I mean, we have the bilateral international cooperation with Uzbekistan. Switzerland does it because this is part of our DNA. It is we do not have an agenda why we support Uzbekistan in managing its water resources, why we support Uzbek society in its economic development, or in Uzbekistan in its governance. We don't do it for any other but for altruistic reasons, because we believe that the development anywhere in the world also has repercussions on the stability of the world. And so therefore I'm sure we can achieve much more also in these fields in the future.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining us here. I think everybody's very much looking forward to Swiss Days, and it sounds like there'll be a huge number of opportunities both for Swiss companies and for Uzbek companies and individuals to get involved in a little bit about what Switzerland has to offer.
Yeah, thank you. Fantastic. Thank you for your interest.
Thank you very much.